kind of stemming back as well to when they lost to Vitality in that best of 3 in their group. Things have been a bit of a struggle. The introduction of Niski in a possible 6-man roster that isn't really a 6-man roster, but we'll see if today they can step up, because overall I think KC have been underperforming compared to expectations recently. As we jump into draft game 1, Ziggs, Sivir, and Orianna taken away by KC. Interestingly, the Ziggs, one of the picks that Carzzy used to beat them in that best of 3 earlier on in summer. Vitality going to get rid of Jarvan and Azir. Taliyah still available. We still have Varus up as well if you want to go for that on-hit build. Galio, the final ban.
Yeah, and a lot of big junglers open as well, like the Wukong, the Zinzao, the Trundle, these kind of picks that have been sitting through. Yunara slipped through as well, which is an incredibly strong pick. So I have to see if that's going to be first rotation here for KC.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised if they don't pick up the Yunara here, just first pick. There's also the Pantheon. There's a lot of strong AD junglers available, and especially when that is the case, you'd hope that this is just an easy Yunara lock-in, unless they have something else prepared.
Nope, there we go. Yunara is going to be hovered and locked by KC. Will be the first time we see Caliste play it in the playoffs. Did play it in the regular season. Rumble Pantheon, the immediate answer though from Vitality.
Yeah, I think you can set up really nicely here for Vitality if you can get your hands on the Taliyah, where you've got very strong mid jungle, a ton of semi-global ults, the ability to kind of wrangle people into a spot so then you can get the Rumble ultimate down. I think as KC, you probably want to try and take that away here just so you can deny what is a very strong duo in that mid jungle.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I think for me, one of the nice things about giving Yunara is that she's not very obnoxious to play against, as in you can play a lot of different ADCs, so you're actually fine dropping here and seeing what KC will ban out, while if it would be something like the Corki or the OP Caliste, it's like you have to play one champion to it, very specific, very niche. But with this, you have a lot of options for Vitality.
Yeah, can just look for something that scales up as well. If Helios Thresh, Jinx Thresh can deal okay with that lane. The Varus is going to be the pick though. The lethality build nerfed a little bit a patch ago, but still very strong on hit and can still work lethality wise. It still does good damage overall.
This champion just doesn't die. I feel like they've nerfed it 10 times. It's still one of the highest priority champions. Carzzy here locking it in. Gonna look to bully out this Yunara in the early laning phase, and probably gonna ban out some supports to try to set up for that.
I am curious what Vitality want to take towards mid lane though, because you have the Rumble top, so you do open up options to take an AD mid laner if you really want to. Like we've seen Tristana start to rise up over the LCK and UPL, so that is always an option. And I think if you really want to try and bully out the Taliyah, the Tristana is a good pick into that option.
Let's see if that's the way Vitality want to go. I'm looking down Czajek's match history. He has a few Corki games. Tristana is up there as well, 15 games across the course of his career of 350 odd, so a few at least in his top 10. We'll see if that's where Vitality decide to go. They're going to ban away another support. Good call on the support bans there, Jack Spectra. It's Rakan and Braum removed by Vitality. Annie, the first pick away by KC.
Makes me think that maybe Vitality here want to look for something like the Nautilus. Usually when you're up against this Taliyah Poppy, right, you don't really want a normal Rel or something that just gets cancelled. So ideally, something that just engages without a dash would be best for them.
So Nautilus can do that, but of course Dredge Line is a little bit of a dash.
It's
you can
stop
it
with
the Step Up doesn't, but Depth Charge does wonders, right? You just put it on someone, you knock them up, and then you can run towards them and hit them with the staggering blows. Alongside that, it is a little squishy in the Redemption support meta we have at the moment, like a Nautilus being the one that face checks. You do have a Pantheon to do it alongside, at least of the Shield of Ages. Morgana,
is Morgana mid,
Vitality, likely mid is my expectation. Can be flexed down towards that bottom lane, but Morgana mid has risen through the ranks over the last few weeks, was buffed in 3 consecutive patches earlier on this year.
I've been hearing some rumors of this Morgana mid being strong, but I'm very excited that we get to see it here in action.
Yeah, it just means that you kind of have to be on point with your CC as Vitality, because you kind of want everyone locked down in one place to get Morgana damage off, to get your Rumble damage off, to get your Varus damage off in some situations as well. So I am curious if these fights end up fairly spread out, if Vitality kind of have enough in the tank to really carry the fights from a DPS perspective.
I really like the fact that they went for the Alistar here instead of the Nautilus. I think Targamas been great on the Alistar, and just as you said, Vitality has so much lockdown CC that you really need a support that's actually going to be beefy enough and have enough sustain that he can survive it.
And Alistar definitely does that. Isn't really a champion at level 1 though in that lane, so we'll see how KC want to navigate that. Sion the final pick here for Canna. Not giving him a carry, but still giving him something he can carry on. Sion such a difficult tank to work your way through, especially since we've already talked about the damage profile from Vitality. It doesn't have a huge amount of consistent DPS. I guess the Rumble with the Flame Spitter, and if it's an on-hit Varus, you can slowly work your way through that side.
I think it's also just having someone that can face check alongside the Alistar, because I don't want to walk into anything on Vitality if I'm going in there blind. So I like just having another tank in there that can kind of make its way into River and into the positions that you want for some of these objectives. And there's that Nautilus that we were talking about already.
Yeah, I quite like KC's composition though into this Vitality comp, because you have these three frontline, forces the Varus to go on hit. I'm not sure how Morgana DPS is going to end up stacking up. I could see it being decent, but also not high at the same time.
Yeah.
It's hard to say.
Yeah, I think like if you can lock someone in place long enough, I know you can get basically your W back up instantly because the cooldown kind of ticks down, and you do have a fair amount of lockup to try and enable that, but I just don't see that as your main DPS, especially as you say, Jack. 3 tanks on the other side that can kind of brute force their way into position. I think Yunara's going to have a field day here.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's definitely easier for Caliste to be playing the team fights in this game, especially as Varus went comment.
That he did. We'll have a look at exactly where Carzzy's decided to go rune-wise early on in this game. We jump on to Summoner's Rift for the first game of this best of 5. KC taking on Vitality. Do or die for both these organizations. KC having a much better 2025 than any year previously in the organization's history, but if it is not capped off with a visit to Worlds, I think a lot of people will be disappointed. For Vitality, it has been 7 years since they last made Worlds, only once back in 2018. That was the Jizuke mini Attila mini Trupax roster that made it all the way there. It'll be a return to form for them. Obviously, not making it through just by winning this series. Importantly, do need to win another best of 5 after this. But if you're out, and you don't have a chance of going to China.
And I think poetically, it's Vitality with a much more untested, unknown roster that's looking to potentially break kind of their curse after so long, after so many super teams attempted and failed. But I want to bring it back to Carzzy and this lethality Varus here, because when I said first, like, I think he has to go on hit, I still kind of think he has to go on hit, but I kind of get the logic. You have 2 AP champions, so ideally most of the enemy team will be itemizing quite a bit of MR, which means that your lethality value will be much higher, and with this build you can actually win out on bot lane.
Some changes to Morgana over the last few patches as well. Great point about the lethality Varus there, Jack. She was buffed on 25.09, buffed on 25.16, buffed on 25.17. And I think the question was, is she going to be a jungler that we just see all the time? Or is she going to be a little bit more niche? And it feels like she's fallen into that situationally a viable pick meta at the moment.
Yeah, I remember chatting to Finn about it, and he was giddy to go home and play this champion in the top lane because he thought it was just absolutely absurd what it was capable of doing. Like, the push is absolutely insane. The ability to just kind of control your lane and also set up for so many of the picks coming off your junglers, and also it just makes things very difficult. Like, a back shield on towards Lyncas means that a lot of that CC you have on KC may just not actually come to fruition in those plays.
Especially when it's so like telegraphed. It's so easy to Black Shield, a Poppy, an Alistar combo. So it makes it really easy for Vitality's carries to play team fights later on.
And not a huge amount of magic damage as well to work its way through that back Black Shield early on. We'll see if the seismic shoves, if the headbutt pulverizes can connect, as Targamas and Caliste have gained control of the bottom lane for the time being. Fletcher going in with a hook, puts down that Titan's Wrath as well for a little bit of a shield, but Triumph from Roar from Targamas as the minions die around him will be enough just to heal him back up.
This is really good from KC's bot lane here. Normally, when you play this Alistar, you're going to be losing push first few levels up to like 3rd, 4th wave, but already they're able to get push, presumably just due to how strong Yunara is in the all-in, and that kind of removes a lot of the pressure from this Vitality bot side early game.
And I've seen it so often when Yunara does actually slip through the draft, just how strong she can be in the 1v1 on mid-wave, like as the game goes on. Like, if you actually if Carzzy overextends on that mid-wave, it's so easy for the Yunara to look for these all-in potentials and maybe just win out immediately in that 1v1. So you have to be very, very careful with just how much damage this Yunara can dish out. It can catch you off guard.
For sure. I think a lot of the strength of this champion just comes from how well she does at just running you down. And that's also one of the nerfs that they gave to her, was the E movement speed. Because the cooldown on that thing is just strange how low it is, and the pros are just spamming it always and just able to move all around the map extremely fast.
It's a great one-hit wonder as well. 7-second cooldown at rank 1 and at rank 5. You do get more bonus movement speed the higher you rank up that E, but you're very happy just to have 1 point in that E early doors and then level it up last. We see Targamas on the traditional 4-minute Alistar roam around the map. Have a look around, see what's happening. Caliste's already in top lane farming minions. He's happy. And we likely will see Carzzy and Fleshy matching up with this. They have a little bit of extra time to Targamas and Caliste, so they can hold the wave however they want, but looks like it's slowly going to push towards the Vitality side anyway.
Yeah, especially if you're Nako, you want to try and be opposite this Sion. Sion going to do way better than you when it comes to the lane swap, so this is going to be Vitality constantly trying to match up against KC where possible. And we just want to see as we start to go on with 30 seconds until Dragon, how we start to see Vitality and KC put pressure onto this. I think Vitality should be able to make their way over towards it just with the amount of pressure Czajek has on mid-wave. And if we start sacking them early, maybe that's something where Vitality can look to play through.
And the biggest problem now is that KC bot lane will kind of retain this tempo lead, so they could just base and swap and do it again and just keep doing this over and over. As you see the Sion basing here, he's already opening up towards top, and now they can retain this tempo lead permanently and always have Vitality on the back foot.
Yeah, always be first on the move around the map, and it can seem like such a minute thing to point out, but you're losing, say, 3 to 5 minions every time it happens, and that's a big gold injection, right? You're losing 100 gold every time it happens. Slowly you see these advantages build up. You can see about a 70 gold lead for Caliste, and he's already backed and is working his way down towards that bottom lane.
And you can see Vitality weren't entirely sure what they wanted to do, because Carzzy went to look for the reset as the waves went to even Steven, but actually denies it, goes back up to try and hit the wave, and I think they weren't sure if KC were faking a reset to go to the bottom lane because Targamas had stuck around, but now Caliste has actually made his way into this bottom side, and it means that Nako with the wave pushing away from him, not in the best of spots.
Yeah, it seems like they maybe just weren't willing to drop the minions, like Medic said, to do the swap to instantly match it. But now they're in a very awkward situation here where Rumble can't really farm. They can set up for this Dragon, and the Varus and Nautilus are never going to punish the Sion.
And we're still 2 minutes away from the Grob spawning, so there's no cross map really for Vitality. It's saying, well, we can leave Carzzy up there, get him to level 6 a little bit quicker, give him some solo XP and farm against the Sion, who is already level 6, so Carzzy has to be a bit cautious in stepping up. We don't often see Sions just solo killing people, but they can definitely do it, especially against a squishier AD carry, even with the barrier available to Carzzy. He's going to stay up here. It looks like Fleshy is teaming up with Lyncas around that mid lane just to allow Czajek to get a little bit more pressure. Nako, he's comfortable enough farming under tower, but if the wave's ever pushing away from him or held away from him, it's so tricky for the Rumble.
I do like how Fleshy's defending him though, because you've got Lyncas who wants to move back up towards that top side. His Scuttle camp is respawning, and I think his camps are going to be spawning on the top side as well. But it just means that Fleshy, at least, if KC try to make any sort of play into the bottom side, is there to cover. And I think this is the best bet, because when you're investing Carzzy towards this top side, you really want to make sure this Rumble's not falling behind.
That top lane matchup, one that we did want to focus on a little bit, is Targamas caught out here. Does have the flash, will have to invest it to get to safety. Burns that summoner, is able to walk away. But back to top lane, Rumble into Sion. Not the most exciting matchup in the world, but Nako and Canna, 2 very strong performers for their team over summer playoffs so far.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with Nako in general. I feel like he's just coming in, looking to outplay at every opportunity, and I just love watching him play, to be honest. I feel like he gives me kind of same vibes as Canna, that they both love to play these carries, they love to be kind of flashy. And he plays Yasuo Sion, but it's also a big bonus.
Doesn't always succeed on Yasuo.
Doesn't always succeed, but at least that you're willing to bring these picks out. Oh,
hook onto Vladi.
That's a lot of CC.
There's a Soul Shackles as well. Vladi has no recourse to escape. First blood to Vitality. Not sure Lyncas was even needed.
Great pick from Vitality on the mid-wave. Fleshy making it work. And as you say, I think Lyncas may be a little bit of overkill, but still, that pick will net them these Void Grubs, which is massive in this early game.
And that really showcases the power of Morgana. He got binded into ulted. That was like 4 or 5 seconds straight of just hard CC where he couldn't move.
It's the longest CC in the game, Morgana Dark Binding, yeah. I'm pretty sure.
I'm ready for those memes to come back where it's like, I got hit by a Dark
Fletch is going for this. Caliste does have the flash and has the cleanse. Chain of Crushing down, there's the cleanse invested and the flash. 2 summoners out. Piercing arrow just shy of clipping Caliste's heels.
And Fleshy flashed over the wall there to reach him. Ends up getting 2 sums for the price of his own. Very nice play from him, as they also get to crash the wave and deny Caliste some minions.
He's also got the teleport here. Czajek's teleport, I think, is just coming off cooldown. There's a possibility of contesting the Drake with a support TP in,
yeah.
and that's exactly what he's going to do. TP's onto the dragon, has his mid laner and jungler coming across, and the Drake will reset, but Casey's plan of, okay, you take the grubs, you get topside control, we'll take a Drake, has just now been left in ruins by Vitality.
I mean, Fleshy's been on a bit of a tear. Gets the play in mid, immediately goes tops, burns sums, and now is able to cover for Dragon as well. Like, he's been everywhere that he needs to be in the map in these early stages, and it's kind of hurting KC a little bit.
Lyncas here might be a bit in trouble, though, as Casey just chooses to leave.
Looks for the
Beautiful hook from Fleshy.
Black shield down there as well. The Dark Binding's only going to hit onto Targamas, who doesn't have his flash, remember. Depth charge out as well, as Fleshy's already hit 6. They're chasing onto the cow. Another Dark Binding for the follow-up. Keeper's Verdict out. Lyncas will come in. Yike cancelled the Keeper's Verdict. Doesn't get the knockback. Carzzy's coming in from the side as well. Doesn't have that chain of corruption, though. So in the end, Yike and Vladi should just be able to walk away.
Man, you just don't get to play the game. Something hit from Vitality. You just spend the next 10 seconds wishing you could go back to the safety of your turret.
But Yike cancelled the Keeper's Verdict. He could have tried to save his teammate, but I don't know if it's indecision or it's nerves, but Casey is looking disjointed.
And Vitality are looking really strong. The jungle support duo coming up trumps. Both of them have been involved in every kill Vitality have got so far. And have to remember, Fleshy getting the double summoners out of Caliste on that top side. There is still a Drake available to KC and Vitality. We'll see if they decide to fight around it. But with no Merc Treads yet on the side of KC, I think they are waiting until they have a little bit more tenacity before taking team fights.
The thing is that every time we're seeing Vitality making the plays, it's that KC are never getting that cross map. It's Fleshy with the TP to try and deny it, or there's some other factor that's denying KC from actually being able to get anything back. So I think for Vitality, they've just been absolutely spectacular in the early game. And this was kind of what we were hoping for from Vitality, was a strong early game to try and set them up, especially on a composition like this.
And it feels weird to say, but Vitality are the ones that are looking confident in this first game here. They just are willing to pull the trigger. I feel like Yike looks nervous.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think he has been struggling to have as much of an impact as he'd like. And that's not counting KC out of the game just yet. There's only 1,000 gold difference. No Drakes have been taken. We see scaling from both sides as well, especially if that Yunara is left alone in a team fight. She can absolutely rip through Vitality. But for the moment, Vitality definitely coming out on top. Canna, though! We talked about the solo bolos, and that's exactly what Sion can do. Vladi was forced away on the top side. Soul Shackles used by Czajek. He's going to have to back away because Targamas is hit alongside Yike to protect his mid laner.
They didn't know doctors could see the future, but here we are. Great play from Canna on the bottom side to get the kill, and will be able to shove in that wave and get a nice little reset for himself. Czajek should be fine on this top side. Morgana clears this out so quickly, and it looks like KC don't want to overcommit onto the Morgana.
Still though, even with Canna getting that solo kill, it's actually Vitality that are able to pick up the Drake. So they still have the objective lead now with 3 grubs and the Drake.
And a lot of that comes down to vision control as well. There's a ward just near Yike's blue buff, just in the river next to it where he's baiting at the moment, that spotted him walking towards that top side. As soon as they saw him, Lyncas is like, okay, I can go for the Drake. We know jungler's top side. We know support's top side. We can go for this. And you have Fleshy and Carzzy in the mid lane just to back you up if you're ever needed. Still only about 1,000 gold lead for Vitality, but KC definitely reeling a little bit from some early punches out of Vitality.
There's a lot of vision control invested on this top side from KC, and it looks like Targamas at the moment trying to keep it, but I wasn't sure with Yike in the area how effectively they want to try and push pressure on towards this top half of the map, but Fleshy once more here to cover.
He's been everywhere on the map in this early game. Redemption going to be his first item on this Nautilus. It's just so strong. It kind of sucks to see tank supports have to build Redemption just because the item is so good, but
it feels
just
weird.
So damn good right now.
It feels weird seeing them be so squishy every game.
Especially with unsealed spellbook.
Yeah.
You don't even have aftershocks. You go in, it's like, okay, I'm dead, I guess, but I can Redemption after I've died.
Yeah.
Which is why it's important as an item. Ooh, Caliste taking a brunt of a piercing arrow there from Carzzy. Yike's going to get the knockback onto Lyncas, but Lyncas just able to walk away from this one. Next objective, Rift Hold up in a minute and a half.
There's a lot of back and forth, though, on where exactly you want to try and set up here on both sides. Like, Czajek going in towards Canna seems like a little bit of a response to Nako having his life taken from him, but I think you kind of want Czajek up at the start for this Rift Tower fight if you want to try and go for it, but he doesn't have his TP. He still needs to reset. Canna's still pushing, and Nako needs to get a reset to try and match this bot push. So I think Vitality not exactly in the best opening when it comes towards wave states for this Rift Herald.
When on the bright side, they will have Czajek's TP for the Herald spawn. But I do agree with you a lot that I feel like their whole comp, kind of their center pillar is this Morgana. They need her CC, or they need her to continue setting up their own CC so they can actually get some kills. And this Rumble is not the strongest, with just no item completed. And now the Bork onto Yunara. Caliste is starting to get strong himself.
Importantly, not too much magic resist on KC yet, at least in terms of Merc Treads, they have none. There's one probably on its way for Canna, so if you are going to fight, now is a really good time to fight for Vitality. All of that CC gets its full duration instead of having to sort of work out when's it going to fall off with the extra tenacity. Obviously, these guys have played enough games to have that as a muscle memory thing, but still, you do want to try and take battles before your enemies have those tools in their toolkits to try and negate some of the pressure you can put down.
Yeah, I'm very surprised that Yike and Vladi, neither of them have Merc Treads yet when it's so valuable in this game, but you have to feel that for sure it's coming.
Yeah, 100
very soon.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see 4 Merc Treads and Caliste probably with Zerkers, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's definitely the way that you want to go if you are KC here, just to avoid all of that CC.
KC are shifting Canna up towards this top side, so it looks like going to be a big 5v5 as Morgana TP's in as well.
Oh, Weaver's Wall coming out. Fleshy with the dredge line, dead charge, hook, that's chain across and follow up. Caliste still has the cleanse. Lyncas flashes over the Weaver's Wall. Meanwhile, Targamas rooted up in the middle of the play. Fleshy getting chased out by Caliste. He will fall first. The equalizer ticking on Targamas and it roasts that beef. Follow up though from Carzzy onto Canna, just trying to CC him down in the end. A 1-for-1, both supports traded.
They try to make it work for Vitality, but for KC, but they just didn't quite have enough, and Vitality managed to get one back. Czajek still fishing for Vladi here. But again, the tankiness that we were talking about for KC, the ability to just shove a bunch of tanks in front of this Vitality damage, means they net the win in the end.
And Czajek was a bit too late with the TPS. It looks like they're still trying to
Grand Stumble, they're going to go in. They look for the Pantheon immediately. He's not back, locked against the wall, grounded. Rift out, look for the reset. It's Czajek that gets it. The smite with 4 HP short. Yike has to flash the wall. Lyncas and Carzzy looking for more, won't find it. But the objective goes over to the Wasp.
And Vitality get away with murder here as they lose the fight, yet they still get the Herald. And now Lyncas tries to get the Wolf, but can't quite get it.
I don't think the most important part of that play was him getting the Wolf, but I'm sure he would have felt great if he'd stolen.
I think the most important part of this play is just the confidence that Vitality is displaying here. They keep going into River. Even when Czajek hasn't TP'd in here, Lyncas is a bit too early as he doesn't have the Black Shield to actually defend him. Czajek flash ultis in and only connects onto Targamas. So that ends up being a little bit bad as then Canna could ulti in, be there first, even with Naak on the equalizer. It's not enough.
Yeah, with the KC just able to rally behind Canna, it makes it a little bit easier to have that beefy front line. But Flashy's been doing a good job of finding Caliste in a lot of these moments, even getting the prediction on his ult E to get the dash. So shout out to him as well. Yeah, he's doing a good job.
Yeah, he's doing a very good job.
I mean, both Lyncas and Fleshy actually having a great start to the series, and both of them KC Blue alumni. They played in this team. There was a big furore when Lyncas left KC Blue to go over to Vitality. And now we see them facing off for a possible world spot and a spot in Madrid.
I think that speaks a lot to just the rivalry between Vitality and KC, that a lot of KC fans felt like that was like a betrayal of Lyncas, that he would go to Vitality. Yeah, it's now Fleshy.
Death charge onto Yike. Weaver's Wall's going to separate Lyncas from the team, and now he's on the wrong side of dodge. Does manage to get the damage down, and the follow-up and Targamas is enough. I thought Lyncas was the one caught out, but in the end, it's Targa just a little too deep.
I think KC were hoping to find a quick pick, assuming Nako with a TP advantage would go into that top side, and trying to make a very quick play ends up burning them as Vitality managed to turn it around.
And this Black Shield just has so much value here, as even when Lyncas goes a bit too deep, Morgana just puts the Black Shield on, but Nako here went for probably a bit too much.
Yeah, tried to kill off Yike, equalizer down, he still gets him. Now Nako will fall for it. Caliste gets 360 gold in his pocket. The only player on his team alongside Canna yet to die in this game. And a lot rides on both of their shoulders now for KC.
It's the fact that we're seeing these fights not play out like fully as a 5v5. It's kind of these like little picks in the moment. And KC here are just trying to set up, but again, Fleshy, great hook. Lyncas goes to follow up, and the Weaver's Wall is something, but I don't think they expected Rumble to be coming in on this flank. So even though Lyncas does get locked up, the Black Shield saves them. The extra damage coming through from the Rumble ults, they just end up picking off them.
It's also the Aegis Assault from the Pantheon, that E just blocking so much damage because he was caught out. Yeah, Casey just couldn't put the damage into him because he had that E and was able to survive through it. Still only 1,000 gold between the two teams and a 720 gold lead for Caliste in that AD carry role, but Lyncas having an absolute stormer so far. 700 gold ahead himself, has the Sundered Sky, Kindle Gem, and the Merc Treads already complete. Feats of Strength were gained for Vitality. Alongside that, they have 2 Drakes and 3 Grubs.
And I think it's this mid-jungle for Vitality that has been stepping up the most that has really impressed me. Like, Lyncas has looked fantastic and has been kind of the key player in setting up a lot of these side lane plays we often see Vitality going for when it gets to the mid game. But Czajek as well has kind of been the unsung hero. This guy has been spectacular in the mid lane, has been able to find a lot of success. We don't talk about that, Fleshy, but across the board, I think that Vitality, like, it has been these newer members that have really stepped up to make a name for themselves.
For KC though, I think on the bright side is Caliste. On this Yunara, he's going to be able to scale up nicely. He already has a 700 gold lead with his 2 kills. And I really think that him alongside this front line can lead to a long, prolonged fight that can set him up so well for success.
Yeah, and I think it'll be looking towards that second item at 3 minutes until this next dragon. He should have access to the rune. Oh, it's actually not. It's the Phantom Match. I thought it'd be the rune and Spark that he went to pick up. I'm kind of surprised.
I'm very surprised.
Yeah, I mean, you assume that you want to take these big fights where you can hit onto multiple people.
I mean, the thing is, if I can try to justify his logic, it's kind of like Vitality as a comp isn't playing that grouped up. You have this Rumble that's going to kind of be playing on his lonesome, same with the Morgana and the Varus. And yeah, the Pantheon and the Nautilus will go in together, but not quite as much as Casey's comp, for example, would. And the nice thing with Phantom Dancer is just a great stat stick, as Canna here is on a ward and Lyncas is wrapped around.
Yeah, Naak is going to chase him. Lyncas there as well. Unstoppable Onslaught meets Lyncas in the face. Stunned up. Now Canna needs to retreat. Does still have the flash and not too much damage yet onto him. He escapes with about a third. Meanwhile, on the bot side, Czajek trying to survive himself has put down the Black Shield already. Targamas dodges away Soul Siphon. There's the flash knockback. And Czajek's on the wrong side of the rift. He'll be taken out. It's a tower exchange for a tower and a kill in favor of KC.
And the TP now from Canna to get in on out of there. That's going to be the Anakan start. KC with a great turnaround on the cross map.
And beautifully played by Targamas there to set up his team for success. But you have to criticize Czajek a little bit. He's staying around on the weak side. The tower is 50 HP. It's not really a real tower. And that's going to lead to Atakan for KC and kind of a comeback for them.
Yeah, that first neutral objective of the game. They will secure it. Get themselves those petals, kind of looking for the chase on Nako, flashing for it as well. Definitely the match going wide. TP behind, as you say, as Vladi joins the fray on his 7-1 Taliyah. This year has only lost 1 game on it. This game not having as much of a good performance as he'd like, and in the end unable to find anything in that top side. I was so hopeful. I was like, this guy's he's 7-1 on the year. He can do something, and then nothing
and then he misses the W, they run out.
Yeah, okay, well.
That was a good caster curse right there.
Well, that's what I'm here for, man. I also realized in the middle of saying 7-1 Taliyah, people would think he was 7-1 in this game.
Yeah,
I had to correct that as well. Yeah, so let's ignore that bit of casting for the moment and move on. Thanks, guys. That was great.
You know, we had the awkward start to the cast. I wanted to let it simmer for a little bit more and really go into it. But honestly, I think for KC again, like, this is huge. The fact that you managed to get the Otacon off this play, you've set yourself up on a bot tower. You've started to get not much needed, but some gold onto key carries, like we were already saying with Caliste. So I think in this sort of position, KC are still keeping themselves within touching distance. And now you're looking at the Dragon in 15 seconds, where you've already got Canna pushing in bot side, access to the mid wave for KC. And sure, Vitality are coming through, but Nako's going to the top side, so he'll take a TP to get here. Whereas it looks like Canna wants to maybe get into position to start things pretty quickly.
I do worry, though, about KC trying to face check here into this poke and into the Morgana bindings. If Vitality can try to hold this spot, I think Canna is really the key piece for KC, because he can just walk up, and he's too damn beefy for them to really be able to deal with him. And Nako is pushing in this top wave. They have to drop full position.
Yeah, KC gain control over the river. Drake up there, Inferno Soul, our first course in this best of 5. KC will start it. Nako now TPing to the bot side as KC already have the Dragon down to 4,000 HP. As you say, Jack, it is just too late. The Drake secured. Vitality will look for the fight. Targamas immediately jumping onto Nako. He tries to flash the wall, but he can't escape. Equalizer down. Won't do much. Canna keeping the rest of Vitality at bay. Exhausted, rooted, chained, everything, but they just don't have the damage to work their way through here. Double onslaught for the follow-up. Good black shield there, but the follow-up onto Fleshy with a seismic shot. He hooks back in! Immediately into his death. Lyncas has to flash away. KC win out the fight.
And Vitality are falling apart at the seams, and KC are pouncing. They get the dragon. They get 2 kills. Nako? What was that?
Yeah, the questions, they're the same. I don't understand, because at this stage I'm like, oh, they're just going to play for the tier 2 and top and look to forgo dragon, but you've already got Lyncas in way too early. The black shield's now used, so the rest of Vitality have to back away. So Nako left completely on his own, and Targamas just sniffs it out because he walks straight over enemy minions. He's envisioned the whole time. And then Vitality, we already said it, they just don't have the damage to try and get through Canna. He knows it. Happy to start setting up these fights so they can pick off Fleshy in the backline.
And I think in this fight you could really see how Vitality's comp is starting to get more and more difficult to execute. Getting through these beefy members, you just don't have the DPS, as Fleshy has a crazy flank here.
Grand Sample coming out as they look for Caliste. Targamas and Yike here to try and defend their AD carry. Lyncas jumps in, but the Hex Flash away from Targamas gets him to safety.
And Vitality looks like a little bit desperate, trying to see if they can get into positions where they can catch people off guard. But it does mean now you get KC pushing in top, they're going to be able to push in bot. They can group on towards mid-wave here and should be able to get this tower if they wanted to, but actually Canna going to make his way back down towards this bottom side to cover the wave.
And this Yunara is just so damn safe with all this mobility, with the flash, with the cleanse. I think it's going to be really hard for Vitality to realistically look for picks onto Caliste. But then it's like, who else can you look for?
Yeah.
It has to be Vladi.
It has to be Vladi. And the question really is for Vitality as well. It's like, even if you find one, is it enough? Eventually, you're going to have to deal with Canna and with Yike and with Targamas, even if you find a pick at the start. Can you work your way through those 3 meatballs as Fleshy looks for the hook? Only finds a minion. Caliste basically out of that anyway.
And that's why I wouldn't have minded if Vitality gave that last dragon and said, cool, we push mid, transition to the tier 2 and top lane, start to get a bit more gold onto some of our carries, and then we're in a position of, hey, we've traded successfully and we're using this buffer of the 2 dragons we have to avoid team fights that aren't going to work out in our favor, where we don't have that pick to start off. But it looks like Vitality just want to keep fighting, and I think at this stage, KC are getting a bit too beefy for it.
Yeah, and it's only going to get harder, it feels like, because Morgana is starting to build towards that pen now, and Rumble does have it as well, but neither of them are really ever going to be going very fast through the Sion.
They might get through the shield at least.
Yeah.
It's going to take a while, especially Blackfire Torch Rylai's. Right?
Yeah.
That is not the highest DPS build in the world. As Targamas is going to find a pick here. Weaver's Wall coming in as well as they look for Nako. The equalizer down, but he's locked against the wall. Redemption coming out as well, but it won't be Nako's savior. Targamas takes it with the Redemption, and Baron immediately begun by KC.
Vitality going to have to try and get in here. At least the pool should be doing some good work when it's in this Baron pit. But KC can just turn and burn if they want to.
Yike with the further gets knocked out. Yike's going to take a lot of damage from the Baron here. Chain of Corruption's going to hit as well. Seismic shot back onto Fleshy. Soul Siphon only going to hit onto Canna. And Carzzy's trying to put the damage down that he can. Piercing arrow through Targamas will be enough. Canna getting chunked out. Lyncas on the chase. The hail of arrows not enough. Canna so low, a double in the end. For Carzzy, Caliste tries to turn it around but can't transcend high enough to make the fight go KC's way.
The pools from Czajek were insane in that fight. They managed to hook on towards Yike in the pits. He's getting damage from the Baron and from Czajek, which forces him out of the fight. He then gets the setup on towards Targamas as well, and on towards Canna. Czajek's Morgana was huge in that engagement.
And now it's Vitality starting off the Nash here as KC are out of position. They don't have the highest Nash damage, however, as KC are gonna be able to join.
Yike's a way away though. Maybe they can just sneak it before Yike gets there. Lyncas with the black shield surviving through it. Baron secured. Caliste dashing forward with the Canna steps. Lyncas will sacrifice himself and almost takes Caliste down in the process. Vitality settle for the Baron on 4. KC have to be happy with 1 kill.
And Vitality showing us that even if they don't have the damage, they can make the fight last long enough that they can kill the Sion. And that secures them the Nash. Just this slow and steady gameplay of the Morgana. And I think so far this game, I'm kind of convinced by the Morgana mid.
Yeah, I'm surprised by just how much it could do, because this was a great pick from KC. Like, great on Targamas to work with Vladi, even the wall pushing Targamas in on towards Nako. It looks fantastic, but it's afterwards where trying to just get a massive value. Yike is just standing on this black pool for so long, then you end up taking the rest of the fight. But watch again, another shot on towards Yike takes him out of the fight. Now you end up in a situation where you can continue to play these fights incredibly slow. Canna is trying to step up to be the front line, but Caliste can't really step forward with how much damage Vitality have from both Czajek and from Carzzy. And again, the pools on these bindings are doing so much work.
Yeah, I'm really surprised as they have enough damage to take down the Sion, and now with the Baron Nashor, they're going to be able to get tier 2 mid, tier 2 top, as KC are actually looking to try to trade for tier 2 bot.
Weaver's Wall coming out. There's the knockback onto Flashy. Double death charge, but it's not going to be enough. Flashy just on the wrong side of the wall. And as you say this, KC pushing for the tier 2 on bot side. Recalls coming out from Vitality. Lyncas dead as well.
The redemption from Targamas stopped the resets coming through from Vitality, so they've now had to wander back even further. So KC managed to get the tier 2 and get out scot-free.
It's a disaster for Vitality as they had the Nash. They wanted to play for tier 2 top, and Lyncas wanted to try to defend the bot tower. And they get neither. And now Caliste at 6-0. Ended up going to Bloodthirster third, so it still doesn't have that Infinity Edge, but should be relatively close to it now with another kill and that tier 2 bot. And surely once he gets it, it's really going to make these team fights a lot easier for Karmine Corp.
Yeah, it's not looking good. Like, we keep seeing these moments where Vitality do the right thing or they find the right fight that they want to, but it's just trying to replicate that hasn't happened. And KC are starting to do a really good job of playing off of the map states and setting themselves up for these wins through how Canna can get pushed or where where Vladi's basing the map with these nice little picks, and Vitality are starting to struggle.
Especially with the Ghost.
You can see how much it means to both the teams to make it to Madrid, to make it to Worlds. You guys can tune in as well. You can perhaps join us in Madrid from the 26th to the 28th of September in a couple of weeks' time. We're going to have a 1-week break week after today, tomorrow, and Monday. And then we'll be going over to what I hear is sunny Spain at the moment, although I'd prefer it to be slightly overcast. I'm a cold weather guy, man. Like, I like it when it's cool.
So you like Berlin weather?
I do enjoy Berlin weather, yeah.
That's
great. When it's not like 35.
Yeah, when it's not 35 to 40 degrees and we have no AC.
That's like 2 days.
Yeah,
the year.
Exactly, right? So that's why I'm happy here. So for KC, it does feel like a pure front-to-back team fight, very much in their favor now. If they're not getting picked off by Vitality, the Sion is just too tanky. Targamas as well is in that camp with that unbreakable will. For Vitality, it's like, how do you fight around that?
I think they need to try and leverage more the fact that they had these dragons in their favor, but they're going to be looking at a third dragon in 2.5 minutes. Jack was just pointing at the screen, Infinity Edge completed for Caliste. Like, it feels like the team fighting for KC is incredibly strong, so you need some way to look for picks, but you can look at their screen. KC are not willing to give that to Vitality. They pushed in boss, they're going to group as 5 and just force Vitality back with sheer health numbers alone.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to need to have a really slow and patient mentality from Vitality here, which is interesting because that's really not what I associate them with.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the only way that they can make this poke composition work, because they don't have enough burst and they don't have enough sustained damage if the fight is just all together.
Crypt Bloom complete for Czajek. That's his 3rd item. We see 3 on Nako as well with the Riftmaker, Leandries, and the Bloodletter's Curse. On the other side, 3 items for Vladi. He's gone for the Void Star, 4 already on Caliste. He is incredibly strong. KC will take 2 towers out of this push, and Vitality won't answer even with the bot one. See Nako also already walking his way up through that bot side jungle to join up with the team in case a tier 2 dive materialized.
I do like how KC are playing this off of 2 waves, so they're happy to give bot if Nako stuck around, because they're just like, great, well, as a 4-man unit, we can just brute force our way in towards mid, and Vladi is always winning out on the side lanes as well, and can join us so easily in the mid lane play. So getting down this mid lane turret just opens up the map so well for KC now, and Vitality are going to lose more and more as this game starts to go on, their opportunities to get on towards the map.
Exactly, Robin. I think it comes all down to the Sion. Like, wherever he goes, Vitality needs to respect. Because if they're going to win a fight, it kind of needs to be without him. Or if it's going to be with him, it's not going to be a short fight, that's for sure.
Makes a lot of sense. For the moment, no fighting really happening on the Rift, but we have the synced up Baron and Dragon timers. Would only be 3rd Dragon of the game for either of these teams, so no soul on the cards, but we might see eventually a trade between those two neutrals, or we might see one team just taking two after winning the fight. Perhaps slightly more likely as Canna steps up into the face of Carzzy. Czajek looking for the flank position here. Hook between the uprights there from Flesh, and I think maybe he's a little bit glad that that one didn't connect.
I do like the idea from Vitality though, just fish for a binding or a hook or something that can follow up, but here we go.
Corruption, Death Charge coming out as well. There's the equalizer on top of it. Redemption healing up Yike, Keeper's Verdict will knock back one. Fleshy surviving through it. The Crippling's going to heal him up alongside that Redemption. Canna's still on that front line, but he's going to be hooked up. Grand Starfall in by Lyncas. He was knocked away with the Keeper's Verdict. Yike having to flash out. Canna locked up. He doesn't get the chance to move away. Caliste flash forward and was met with the anchor of the Nautilus. He still gets the kill. Lyncas dives in. Vladi goes golden, but he's only getting silver this game. Vitality find the fight. Yike looking. Oh my God! The buckler from beyond for KC. Perhaps saving the game for Karmine Corp.
What is this game? Vitality feels like they're doing the impossible here. They're playing it so slow, so precise. Fleshy just getting hook after hook after hook. When you'd think he'd just get one shot at the first hook. And even Caliste, with so many items, he just doesn't have it.
Yeah, the fact that you're getting the hook on towards Yike, you get him to so low health. And Fleshy, I'm shocked he gets out of this one, but able to flash away the Redemption to heal himself up. And Caliste just isn't able to get into a position in these fights to really get access to the backline. He flashes forward here in just a moment to try and make the play happen, but Fleshy again, these hooks.
Yeah, he dashes. I mean, the prediction is just...
It's so good.
And now he's so chunked, he can't rejoin the fight, and when he tries to, Lyncas just flashes on him and kills him. And I was thinking here, wait, is this game? But then Yike sits in the bush. Boop, bonk.
Carzzy, he goes, thinks better of it for a second, and then is like, haha, my buckler will follow you.
But I think Vitality are just playing these fights so well. The patience on them, as Jack was saying, the fact they're not overcommitting on that first hook, they're just using the range you have from the Varus, the Morgana, even this Rumble Ultimate, to just churn through this front line very quickly on KC. And then afterwards, you just don't have the beefcakes you need to allow Caliste and Vladi to really step up into these fights.
And I really feel like it cannot be understated how much value this Morgana has, because maybe as a viewer you're thinking, why doesn't KC just engage? If they just engage, they win. But they can't, because the carries of Vitality are positioning separately, and whoever they go on will just get black shielded and they'll peel them off.
And we saw it there at the end where Lyncas ulted back in and immediately got black shielded after Canna used his ultimate and just walked on out. Like, it's so difficult if Vitality are playing these fights correctly. And honestly, I didn't think they had it in them, but Vitality are making it work.
Oh, equalize down, chain of corruption was Canna as well. There's Redemption, but he's already dead before it finds the floor. Canna down into that zombie mode again. Vitality find a pick. And now KC have to fight 4v5 around the Baron pit.
And how do you try and get it back? Access to this, Targamas kind of has to be the one. But if you walk in, we've just seen what happened to a man who has significantly more health than you do than the cow.
And crucially there, Vladi as well got completely chunked out. So it's nearly a 3v5.
Oh, the turn onto Yike. They'll get him rooted up, and they stun him in the middle of the Keeper's Verdict. He's going to go down. That's the jungler dead now. But Karmine Corp Vitality living up to their name, giving their fans a breath of hope early on in this series as they will get the Baron. KC going to walk down towards that bottom side trying to find something in the bot side jungle. Not going to find anything. Vitality fighting back as they go ahead in the gold for the first time in about 10 minutes.
Okay, Vitality, round 2 with this Baron Nashor. Let's see what you can do with that.
Honestly, I feel like they've really locked into how they need to win out these fights, and especially as you start to siege up at this, it feels like it becomes even more difficult. I think the only maybe saving grace for KC is if you get into a position of like having Targamas come in on a flank and that black shield gets burnt early. Maybe you can try and set up something that way. But the black shield usage from Czajek has been great in the last couple of engagements.
I think crucially when it comes to this Nash, I think a good Nash play here would be that they just get the tier 2s, they're able to get a 4-5k gold lead coming into this Drake. If they're able to get an inhibitor, I think that's when this game will really kind of be decided, because that would be a great Nash for them. But maybe they'll just fight.
Definitely would be. As we see Vitality trying to step down towards this bottom side.
And it would be incredible for Vitality to be able to take them down, because we had a GX on the podcast Euphoria this weekend, and they both predicted Vitality to win this.
Wow.
I think opposite of what a lot of expectations were coming into this, but Vitality, at least in game number 1, definitely showing what they're capable of here against KC.
I mean, it's been a rumor mill over the last couple of weeks, right? Is Nisty coming in? Are KC struggling? Are Scrims not going as well? Is there unease?
Well, for GX, I think they got slapped by Vitality that day in Scrim.
I mean, that also could be the reason. Chain of Corruption down onto Canna, no follow-up CC from Vitality. They're trying to push in with this Baron buff. Still have a minute 20 on it. So far, I've got about 700 gold in excess of the 1.5k you get for just taking it.
I like the way Vitality set up though. Lyncas is pushing in mid, matching that semi-global from Vladi, so you've always got this quick access to the spot lane if you need it, but KC going mid.
Gonna go on to Lyncas, seismic shove already used. Lyncas does have his flash and will use it to jump across. Meanwhile on the bot side, Canna's trying to keep that Nako away. Starfall away by Lyncas, dies mid-air.
He can never come back down.
He's an angel now, guys. It's fine.
He's joined the top of Targamas in his... I don't know, what's the...
Mount Targon.
Mount Targon, that's
Targamas sent him to Mount Targon.
Targon, thank you, there we go.
Bars.
He'll join the rest of the Pantheon.
If I nailed it, sure.
So, what ended up happening there was 2 towers on the bot side for Vitality across this Baron power play. They sacrificed their jungler to do so. He's down for 20 seconds and the Drake is up in 10. It will only be the 3rd for KC if they take it. I think Vitality might just back away from it because Lyncas doesn't have the Grand Starfall. He can't join this fight very quickly. And yeah, KC are just going to be able to take this one away. Vitality, no interest in contesting without their jungler.
And this game is going the distance. We're going to all 7 Drakes here. Well, I have to say that was another disappointing Baron play from Vitality. Able to get a 1k gold lead out of it, but losing ultimately the Drake, which was the more important objective. As now, Caliste is fine.
Yeah. It feels very Vitality though. They get leads, and then something bad happens. And then they get leads, and credit to KC for punishing, right? They decided to jump onto Lyncas. I thought for a second he'll escape, but they were able to kill him off. Canna was able to defend the tier 3 on the bot side while that was happening. KC are doing a good job of weathering the Baron buffs, but I think if you are a Vitality fan, you are kind of bemoaning them these last couple of Barons, saying, hey guys, a little bit cleaner, and this game could have been over by now.
Yeah, it definitely feels like when you're the team getting 2 Nashers, it should be a lot more one-sided than this, but that's why we love EU, baby.
I think as well, you're at this stage, Vitality are, at least Czajek picking up the Rabadons does make the pulls quite strong. But the longer you leave this, like Canna just continues to get tankier. You're going to see more armor coming through on Yike. Like the beefy front line is going to get more beefy. And that makes it a little bit more worrying.
We was all down from Vladi just to keep Vitality away from the tower more than anything. And he'll do exactly that. Next wave, 15 seconds away, so we'll just see them both look at each other menacingly in this top side for a moment.
You've great wave clear on KC, so if Vitality just kind of force to bonk heads against them here, it's going to make it a little bit more difficult. They're fishing for some decent poke though.
Yeah, looking for a bit of poke. Redemption, Outkeeper's verdict knocks Fleshy back, but he came back with a vengeance. The hook was baited, and Yike took the bait. Canna now having to try and escape. Already, Yike and Targamas down. Canna flashing away from the dark binding. The tower will be forfeit. Vitality get 2 and a turret.
I cannot believe that Vitality keep making this work. Like, they're fishing for the plays, but Fleshy with that hook, holding them in place, getting on towards Yike. And Yike just doesn't really have as much magic resist as some of the other members of the team, so they are able to burn through him so effectively with things like the Bloodletters and that Grip Blue.
And Fleshy buffering the Keeper's Verdict crucially there was really surprising and able to live as well. Looks for the hook on Vladi.
When you're Nautilus in this position and you're ahead and you can also have the black shield on you at any time, you are going in at every possible moment. Chain of Corruption came out from Carzzy. They're looking for the damage onto Vladi. Another hook hitting only onto Canna, decimating smash out. Equalizer! Enough to snipe off Vladi. And now KC 2 men down for the next 10 seconds. Vladi a minute away from respawning.
The soul of Lyncas came down in that comment to finish off the very low health members of KC and Vitality. They've cracked open the base. This looks fantastic from them.
Vitality doesn't need a Nash to take turrets and inhibitors, as they take everything here in another... This was a fast fight, but even then, it's Vitality that comes out on top, as KC carries are just not able to hit through the Morgana pool, through the equalizer. There's just too much.
The Riley slows onto Caliste on these pools are making it so difficult for him to play the fights out. Like, he doesn't want to try and use his dash to go in when you can turn so quickly as Vitality, but he actually just can't keep pace with so many of the members of Vitality who are just doing this constant conga line in and out of these fights and swapping health bars.
And there is the third Baron of the game for Vitality. 90 seconds before the Drake. The Infernal Soul for either team. Probably going to be the defining moment of the fight. That's the ex-Nappy viewing party, by the way, live that we saw in that moment. And we'll see if they're cheering when this game ends, or whether or not they are a little bit disappointed, perhaps, that KC are losing.
Definitely surprising here.
It's been very surprising, because like Vitality coming out strong, I think we kind of expected that as a very real possibility. But then KC fighting back, and then Vitality coming out from a position of deficit, from being behind and being able to fight back this effectively. I think that's the true surprising part of it.
It always feels surprising when the underdog is the one that's able to persevere and actually come back from a deficit.
And I think it speaks volumes to the work that Vitality have been doing, right? Like, we've seen them kind of step up over the course of not only this split, but coming out of spring, adding Fleshy into this roster. Vitality have been working on their stuff, and it looks fantastic, and it looks like it's about to pay off for them as Caliste. That was close.
Yeah, that was way too close for comfort.
He has a Mercurial Scimitar and a Cleanse, so I think just playing a little bit aggressively, we have seen that bite him.
I mean, if he gets Nautilus ulted there, neither of those are going to save him.
That's very true. As he heals up off the wave, Vitality looking to crack the third inhibitor tower of the game. Nako, there's Canna charging in. Black Shield once again onto Fleshy. Good knockback with a Keeper's Verdict. Vitality fighting a 4v5, but look at the equalizer damage onto Vladi. Redemption already haven't come down. Canna's locked up on the front line. Nako pops the stopwatch, but he might just go pop immediately afterwards. Scrap Shield Redemption, not down in time. 1-for-1 so far. The exchange for the top lane is dead, as Canna uses his zombie form to force Vitality a little bit further away. Vladi still eating a world of hurt here as the dive comes in from Lyncas. One cannon minion about to fall. The second stands for a second, but KC still hold on to their bot side base.
But the Dragon is up and available. Vitality are just walking back to try and pick up Soul. KC need to commit without a tank, and Vladi has to try and get out of base. But look at their Nexus turrets, they're under siege.
Vitality are just trying to buy time as they get
Chain of Corruption onto Targamas immediately. I love that. I love that. Just wait in a bush. A little ambush coming out of that bot lane try. Vitality find the cow, and they're looking to find the soul alongside it. Yike, he can't get into the pit. Fleshy here acting as a bouncer. There's the soul to Vitality. An Infernal at their backs. Double inhibitors down for the next minute and a half. And only one lane left that they need to push in.
This just looks so dire for KC. Vitality step back, Black Shield on the Fleshy, and I like the idea from Yike. Send it on towards Czajek since that Black Shield has been used, but you called in the fight, the equalizer, forcing Vladi back, keeping Caliste really at a distance. They do end up picking off Nako at the end, but it's in trade for Canna, and the health bar is so much more favorable for Vitality. They can look for more afterwards.
And there's just so many slows on the Vitality side that it's so hard for Caliste to ever really have this pop-off fight, despite the fact that now he's sold his boots and has a Hurricane. He's like the full build ADC fantasy.
No boots though. Gonna struggle a little bit with some of the CC coming out from Vitality. You can see Targamas went for the Swifties to try and negate some of that slow resistance coming up strong for him. On this Alistar, I think 10-1 this year. And we have Vladi sitting on his 7-1 Taliyah. Neither of them have had the impact that they would have wanted so far in this game, but the game yet to be over. Nako TPing down towards the bot side. Vitality got a 5-man push through here. No Baron at their backs. 2 minutes before that one respawns. There's the Weaver's Wall. Vitality will try and get on the right side of it, which in this case is the right side of it as they walk back. Next wave, 10 seconds away.
Yeah. Again, we're kind of seeing Vitality just 5-manning it and looking for the poke underneath the tower. It worked very well in the tier 2. And they're going to try and let this mid-wave do the work for them, but it's a little bit far back, so KC at the moment can continue at least to clear out these waves.
Keeper's Verdict. Trying to hold for that Black Shield. It is cancelled, as you say. Inhibitor tower down for Vitality. Binding's going to land. There's a Chain of Corruption follow-up on this Canna again. Chunked out before he can really get into the battle. will be able to heal a bit of that back up as Yike, the next target for Vitality. They don't have the Chain of Corruption, but they do have plenty of other tools at their disposal to lock someone down. Nako flashes away a great black shield onto him, avoiding the stun. He escapes and Yike falls. Canna chasing forward, decimating Smash not to do too much. Targamas and Caliste eat an arrow through their backs though, and they're both down to half HP. The inhibitor will fall. Nako with the equalizer, not the best positioning as all of KC are able to retreat to the fountain. Targamas sprinting out, trying to stop his Nexus towers from falling. Chain of Corruption going between the uprights there, and Targamas and Caliste were able to dodge it. Lyncas falling low, the Aegis Assault not enough to keep him alive. Caliste begins to open up, he's transcended, and he looks for Nako and the Mercurial Scimitar enough to cleanse away the CC. Carzzy's going to die to Vladi. Nako's going to go down to Caliste. Only Fleshy and Czajek left alive. The binding dodged by Targamas. Vitality need to extricate themselves from this situation. Otherwise, KC might just march down mid.
But Czajek finds the binding.
Oh, a great hook into binding. Fleshy, though, now looking for more soul shackles coming out. Gonna land the stun. Czajek kills him! Czajek gets the root. Decimating Smackdown. There's the black shield to avoid the knockout. Vladi comes in, though, and in the end, Canna will secure the kill. An ace for KC, but it cost them so damn much.
And finally, when I thought Vitality had done it, they could end the game, they bit off a bit more than they could chew, as they played so nice and patiently here. Yike tries to flash in, but a beautiful black shield. They're able to continue poking them with the Varus arrows, with the Morgana binds and slows and everything. You see the carries just getting poked out, and you think to yourself, it's GG, it's gonna be game. But Caliste, he's able to hold the base. As Lyncas goes a bit too deep, he gets comboed, he ends up going down, and then the rest of Vitality are left wondering. And KC,
Lyncas is coming for this. Oh, he's not going to get in range. Okay. I saw him standing still. I saw Grand Star fall up. I was like, is he just going to go into the pit? Decides against it. Probably the right choice. Don't want to die when you have Elder coming up in 2 minutes' time. Don't want to give up another player for the next 60 seconds or so.
It still feels difficult for KC to do a huge amount with this when it comes towards taking towers, simply because all of their inhibitor turrets are down, inhibitor and bot side's down. I think this is essentially a rope into saving this for Elder Dragon.
Yeah.
Like, if you can get pushed out from the base enough that you can actually contest this, that's the big win for KC. I think that's where this game is going to be decided.
Yeah, for sure. This is a stalling Nash, where the goal is to just actually get decent wave states so that you can get control of this Elder. And if you can get control, then maybe finally we can see KC kind of being the first team on the objective and having that right foot, because for the past 30 minutes or so, it's always felt like Vitality are the ones choosing when and where to fight.
In a game with the gold separated by 100, when they both have 92,000, with 3 Drakes to 4 Drakes, 3 Grubs to 0, 41 Petals to 10, we are now in the longest game of the year here in the LEC. KC going to push through bot. Vitality only investing their resources in that mid lane.
Czajek just reset to finish off his Zhonya's as well. Had just burnt that Seeker's arm guard, so nice that he's able to finish that off just as we have 40 seconds until this Elder. And you've got basically everything when it comes towards items that you could possibly want. It's just the fact that Czajek doesn't have flash, same with Carzzy for the moment, that could be punishable for KC, but it's answered on the opposite side with both the mid and AD carry of KC flashless as well.
KC have a couple of more control wards at their disposal. You can see Canna, Yike, and Targamas all saving a slot for that. Nako hasn't saved the slot because he's full built on this Rumble now.
A good problem to have.
It's a nice enough problem, so you only have control wards coming out from Fleshy, apart from the ones that are already down on the map. Lyncas slowed up there for a second. Able to walk away from it. Targamas bound. Chain of Corruption with the follow-up. He's going to use the redemption on himself, but he's already chunked down to about half HP. Another Dark Binding just wide of Canna. Weaver's Wall going to split the team up here, as Nako is not with them. A good keeper's verdict. Czajek uses that stopwatch. They're going to get the CC chain onto Canna, but there's no follow-up damage from Carzzy. A good hook onto Yike, though, means that it's going to be jungler for jungler exchange. Targamas diving onto Nako. The rest of Vitality diving in. Lyncas first one. Caliste, oh my God, alive! He's put on a spit and roasted. Nako finding the vital kill, as now they die for Vladi. And I don't think this Taliyah has a way out of here apart from just running for the hills. Lyncas still chasing. Seismic Shovel get the knockback. There's an Elder Drake available to TP out from Vladi. Is it Elder or is it the base for Vitality?
Elder be damned. Vitality don't need it, as they're going to run down mid and end this game.
The Nexus Tower has respawned. That top side one. You'll see them trying to get through that inhibitor in the mid lane. Perhaps their first target, they need the minions to help them out. Vladi's going to try and cut off this wave. Try and clear it any way he can. As Vitality continue to push in. Chain of Corruption lands. Oh, Vladi's a goner. He's done for. He buys himself a second, but all he can do is watch as his team is still dead. He is dead, and Vitality go 1-0 up in the series.
The draft was doubted, Vitality was doubted, but that performance left no doubts. What an incredible game from Vitality and start to this series.